What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. As you guys can tell by the title, I bought a pretty cheap Jaguar. The only downside to it all, I guess, is it's a Jaguar and they tend to break down as they get older. And this vehicle is no exception. It does have pretty high mileage for being a Jaguar. These vehicles aren't known for reliability, so yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it has this many miles. So this right here is my 2005 Jaguar XJR supercharged. It does have a 4.2 liter V8, and like I said, it is supercharged. This actually does produce quite a bit of power. I believe somewhere around 400 and something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is pretty quick. This vehicle is not very common. They are kind of hard to find with the 4.2 liter supercharged engine. There's this model, which is the XJR, which has a little bit more focus on sportiness. So it has different wheels, bigger brake calipers, or I should say different style brake calipers than the regular Jaguars. There is a Super V8 out there as well that is kind of taking a different approach. Their approach is kind of more luxury, so the interior sometimes can be a little bit nicer. But this vehicle is kind of like the sportier side of that platform. I personally like this vehicle a little bit better than the other ones, just mainly because of the wheels. I think they look a lot nicer. They're supposed to be BBS wheels made for Jaguar. They're a little beat up, I will admit. Obviously, I mainly focus on Nissan and Infiniti, but when I saw this vehicle up for sale, I had to buy it. I only paid $800 for it. It was not running or driving when I first picked it up. I had to get it towed home. My neighbor actually has one of these vehicles, and that's the reason why I kind of started getting myself, into this platform. So I've had this car for about 3 months now, maybe a little bit longer. I just haven't posted anything about it. When I did buy this vehicle, it was not running or driving, and I didn't know exactly what was going on with it. All I knew is it just stopped running one day, and it wouldn't start up at all. It wouldn't crank. It wouldn't do anything. So yeah, I ended up taking pretty much a gamble on it, and that's why I was able to get it for so cheap. There has been some work that I've done to this vehicle that I will let you guys know in the next video. But today I kind of just wanted to focus on the overall condition of this car and kind of just show you guys and tell you guys why I ended up buying it. The reason, like I said, it was only $800, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And as you guys can tell, it runs and drives now, so I was able to fix it. The second reason is I kind of wanted to try something else instead of Nissan and Infiniti, since that's kind of all that I focus on. So I wanted to try a different vehicle for once and see how that went. And it's definitely different, and it's definitely not what I'm used to. These vehicles can be a pain in the butt to fix, and I have learned that by working on it. I can see why people don't like working on Jaguars. It's not that they're hard to fix. I think it's more that the information that you want to find about these cars is not readily available, or there's not a lot of information out there. As an example, when I was trying to fix this car, I was looking through the fuses and relays to see what each one did and what they control, and I couldn't really find a lot of information. It took me a while to just find out basic information about this car because the fuse box doesn't come labeled. So that's one of the things that I would say. These cars, like I said, they're not terrible to work on, but when things break and you try to find information, it can be hard to get that information, and in that way it can be hard to fix, because if you don't have the information or common knowledge of these vehicles, then it's kind of hard to fix them. It's not like an Infiniti or Nissan where things, in my opinion, are a little bit easier, and I mean, maybe because I'm familiar with them, that I could just fix them without really looking at things or forms. So for this car, I'm new to it, so I don't have that knowledge of what is common to break on these vehicles and what you should do when they break. So yeah, that has been a learning experience for me, for sure. But I will say, it feels good to have this vehicle up and running. Overall, the condition of the vehicle is not terrible. It was crashed in the front at one point, so the headlights have a little bit of a fitment issue. As you guys can see here, the hood doesn't align perfectly with the headlights, so it definitely still needs some work. But I happy to say that at least it runs and drives. The vehicle does have air suspension from factory, but somebody has deleted the air suspension because they can be problematic, and when they break, it can be very, very expensive to sort out. Getting some good quality air shocks is hard for these vehicles, like I've learned. I didn't think it was going to be such a big hassle, but it can be. And sometimes you can get aftermarket air shocks, but they're not compatible with the CAT system, which is what this vehicle has. The CAT system is the air suspension, and I'm not going to go into detail about that because you probably are going to get confused. But if you don't get some quality air shocks, sometimes the solenoids in the shocks that activate the firmness and softness doesn't work all too well with aftermarket shocks, and it will throw codes. So sometimes, you know, what people do is they delete the air suspension and just install coilovers, which I'm gonna probably do on this vehicle. So yeah, let me give you a quick interior overview of this vehicle here. This is a Jaguar, and it is a luxury vehicle, and you can tell by looking in here. We got wood on the door cards, on the steering wheel. Pretty much there's wood everywhere in here. Wood, and it's not cracked. It's actually in very good shape still, considering I'm in Arizona. You know, everything breaks in here, and for the most part everything's holding up pretty good. This doesn't have the navigation, which I know they come in navigation, but sadly this one doesn't have it. The interior is that gray color. For the most part, it's all in pretty good shape. I have pieces, you know, just scattered all over the place because, like I said, I fixed this car and I haven't really had the time to put it back together. So yeah, I mean, it's a $800 car, you know, so you can expect, you know, some issues here and there, but for the most part everything can be fixed. I need to get some clips for this rear seat to kind of put that back in place. But what I've noticed about Jaguars is whenever you buy a Jaguar, you get a whole bunch of parts. You get a lot of parts that come with the Jaguars, and I think that's a trend or a theme with these vehicles. So this vehicle did come with the whole new brake pedal assembly, because when I purchased it, one of these guys was stuck and the brake lights were just staying on all the time. So I ended up swapping out the solenoid right here, the brake solenoid, or the brake plunger, what I guess you can call it, and that ended up fixing the light, so I didn't have to swap out the whole pedal. It did come with brand new air suspension here that I have in the back. I haven't personally installed it or messed with any of this just because this vehicle already has coilovers. So it is nice that it came with that, but I don't know if I'm gonna put it back on, just because from what I've read, these vehicles, you know, they tend to have a lot of issues with the air suspension, and I don't know if I want to be messing with that. I kind of want to just slap something on there and be done with it. But as you can see, it's a little too low, you know, so it definitely needs to be raised. I mean, some people might say that looks nice, but personally I think it's a little too low, and I feel like I can't drive it around how a car should be driven, and I don't like, you know, having to hear noises when I'm scraping on things. So personally for me, it's not something that I tend to go for. This vehicle is definitely underrated, and I know a lot of people, you know, they might not like the styling, but personally I feel like it's grown onto me. I feel like it looks nice, you know. It's definitely an acquired taste, I would say, because when I first got it, I didn't really think too much of it. But now that I look at it, you know, I think it looks different, and I wanted to try something new, and this is the new thing that I got. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for more videos on this vehicle. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much going to wrap up the end of the video. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about it. If you guys did like what you guys saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace out.